Who would win in a fight right now, KSI or Jake Paul? That's a question that's gone around quite a lot recently, and today I'm going to give a solid straight answer. And the answer might not be as obvious as you're thinking. And I might actually get burnt at the stake for my answer, alright? And before we get into this, alright, no, I haven't been smoking weed. And no, I haven't been filming an apology video, alright? I've just got a bit of hay fever, alright? Don't try and assume anything. I've just had a bit of pollen on my eyes. I haven't got a crippling drug addiction. And I'm not James Charles. But before I actually give a solid answer, we need to go into the history of each fighter. First, we'll start with Jake Paul. So Jake Paul first had his initial fight against Deji in 2018 on the undercard of KSI v Logan Paul. And, well, we all know how that fucking went. Deji might have eaten a few too many biscuits or drank too much alcohol, but that's just a rumor. But after that Deji fight, Jake Paul will be training for the next year and a bit until 2020. Where at the start of the year, Jake Paul destroyed an Song Gibb in the first fucking round. Then again, an Song Gibb that night did have a bit of the weak knees. But after that technical knockout, Jake Paul will not fight until the end of the year against Nate Robinson. And again, Jake Paul was relentless with the way he just destroyed Nate the same way he did an Song Gibb. Except this time, he actually got a knockout. Congrats, Jake. We knew you could do it. I mean, no one actually believed you could do it, or no one actually chose to believe you could do it. In simple terms, everyone wants you to get knocked the fuck out. And in all fairness, even though everyone despises Jake on YouTube, like he just needs to fuck off the platform for good, you can't actually deny that he's not a decent boxer. He can actually get taken semi-seriously now. And later on, we have to discuss if KSI is actually considered serious in boxing. But let's go back to the history. So after the Nate Robinson face plummet, very recently, Jake Paul went up against Ben Askren and again got another technical knockout. So far, Jake Paul has won 3 fights and lost none. So far, Jake Paul's won 3 pro fights and won 1 non-pro fight. With 2 of those fights ending in the first fucking couple minutes, he's actually got some sort of history behind him, so he can actually consider himself serious in boxing. Which now leads him on to his next fight, which is up against Tyron Woodley. And not gonna lie, mate, I haven't heard of you. I mean, when I was expecting Tyron, I was expecting this guy.
I'm Tyron. Fuck all that. Oh, man. What the fuck all that goddamn fancy shit, man?
So Tyron Woodley is still currently in the UFC and lost his most recent fight, which, as we know, Jake Paul loves to take on opponents that are just not quite there. No offense to any of his opponents, especially Deji. But if you think about it, Nate Robinson, not a boxer, and Song Gibb, YouTuber, and Ben Askren, who is a UFC fighter. Jake, pick a fucking good opponent. But in all seriousness, Tyron Woodley, not only is he a boxer, but he's also part of the UFC. But in boxing, he's only got an amateur record. He hasn't had a pro fight. And also a little side note, Tyron's nearly 40. Jake, what are you doing beating on a middle-aged man nearly? But in conclusion, if Jake Paul fights Tyron Woodley and wins, he's going to get taken way more seriously, unlike KSI. And here's KSI's history of pro fights. They called him 6 foot though. Vision cruiser, cruising for a bruising. Whoa! That was so shit. But in total, KSI's had 3 fights, only 1 being a pro fight, obviously against Logan Paul, and the other 2 being Joe Weller and, of course, Logan Paul. But the reason why I wanted to go into both their histories is because up until now, KSI has not been training, as far as we know. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's been training every single year, waiting for a fight. Meanwhile, KSI has just been eating mukbangs. But how this all relates back to KSI versus Jake Paul, who would win right now. And the reason why I went into each background is because of how seriously they're taken as a boxer. And not only is KSI seen as more of an artist in YouTube compared to boxer, but his record and his current training status shows that he is not up to scrap to someone like Jake Paul. And that's going to have to be my final answer, as much as I'll get lynched for this. But Jake Paul would destroy KSI at this moment in time. KSI would like to think he wouldn't, but you know, I mean, it's the same man who called himself God, so I think he's fine. Now, in all seriousness, we know KSI can box. He just has to train really hard against someone like Jake Paul now. Like I mentioned in my video last year, when an Song Gibb and Jake Paul happened, I mentioned Jake Paul becoming more and more of a threat. And as I predicted, Jake Paul's up here on boxing level now, while KSI's down here. Now, can KSI bring that up? 1,000,000%. He could just destroy it. But he's going to have to put the training and time into doing that, whereas right now Jake Paul would just fuck him up. And that is my conclusion for this video. Who would win the fight right now for boxing? That would be Jake Paul. I mean, KSI might be able to hold his own in a round or 2, but apart from that, Jake Paul would just win. Logically speaking, Jake Paul has a really high chance of winning. And I'm even going to come out and say this, but Logan Paul is a worse boxer than Jake. And it might not seem that surprising to some people, considering Jake Paul has had way more experience and he's had way more training. But on the the flip side, Logan Paul lasted a long fucking time with Floyd Mayweather. Like, I expected Logan Paul to get stepped on, even though he's taller. But in the same way that Logan managed to hold his own, Jake Paul's managed to hold his own and win every single fight he's gone up against. And he's fully transformed himself into becoming a real boxer, despite what everyone else thinks. But in conclusion, KSI, mate, get on the treadmill, you fatty. But thank you guys for watching this video, and if you do enjoy these types of videos, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. I upload these kind of videos every single week, so if you want to stay up to date and know what's going on, make sure to turn notifications on and subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy the video popping up on screen now. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in a bit.